Welcome to another episode of Inside IALR. Thanks for joining us. Today we are here to highlight a special partnership. We're all about partnerships here at the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research, and also just a great organization that it makes a really creative use of our conference center for their annual banquet every year. So I'm here with God's Pit Crew, and we have Randy Johnson. Randy, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And also Tracy Fink, our Vice President of the Institute Conference Center.
Thank you, Caleb.
So, to start, what is God's Pit Crew? Tell us a little bit about what you all do.
So God's Pit Crew is a faith-based, nonprofit disaster relief organization. So we go in after major natural disasters, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, wildfires, whatever it may be, with volunteer teams. And we respond to those disasters in three different ways. We carry in tractor-trailer loads of relief supplies, food, water, our blessing buckets, whatever's needed, and distribute that to individuals affected. Then we have an immediate response team that goes in and they work to cut trees, move debris, tarp roofs, muck out flooded homes. And then thirdly, we have a rebuilding team that goes in and helps to rebuild families' homes that have been devastated.
And how did you all get started, and at this point, how long have you all been doing this?
So we're in our 26th year. We started in May of 1999. And, I occupied a church pew for a number of years as what I refer to now as a professional bench warmer. And I don't want to discredit attending church. That's an important part of our Christian walk. But I just felt like there had to be more than that, but just never felt like I was smart enough, gifted enough, talented enough to do anything else. And I just went to the altar one Sunday night and said, Lord, here I am. If you can use me, use me. And 3 weeks later, I was in my pickup truck pulling a borrowed trailer with my family, headed to Oklahoma to take supplies to tornado victims. And so one storm turned into two turned into three, and now we have responded to 202 major disasters in 30-some states and 15 other countries.
And all of those operations are based here in Danville, correct?
They're all based here in Danville on North Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I guess you have volunteers that would come from not just here. They would come from all over the place?
Yeah, we have over 2,000 registered volunteers now from every state in the United States, and some from Canada and even some other countries. We had a couple of volunteers at the warehouse a few weeks ago from France, so it's really cool to see people just come from everywhere. I'd say about 40 or 50% of our base is within 200 or 300 miles of here, but we have volunteers from all over the country.
That's really cool, and that makes sense that you would have, your base here where you're going out from, but then if you have people in all of those different spots, wherever the storm is, you would have some people that are close, or the disaster is, you would have some people that are close to that. So I know you all have been doing your annual benefit banquet here for over a decade at this point, right?
Yeah, I believe you're right, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about kind of what that event is and how did that event get started?
So we actually started our benefit banquet a year after God's Pit Crew got started. So I think this would have been our 23rd or 24th year of doing it. And like I said, more than half of that, we've done it here at the Institute. But the benefit banquet is a way for us once a year to share stories about what happened the previous year to people who contribute already, who have been donors already, or potential new donors can actually see video footage and a live testimony and can see what God's Pit Crew is doing, and to physically see that we are doing what we say we are doing and how we're meeting the needs of others. So we always try to bring guests in that we've helped the previous year. This year we had about 15 or 16 family members here from different families that we either helped after Hurricane Helene or that we're building or providing a new home for that was affected by Hurricane Helene. So just a way to physically let the people who give of their time, their talent, and their treasures to God's Pit Crew to see firsthand what what their giving is doing and how it's helping others.
That's really cool. I know this is one of the biggest events that we host at our conference center every year. What was the final number of attendees over the 2 nights this year?
Yeah, I think we were almost 1,000 people over the 2 nights total. So it's pretty incredible for us, honored to think that many people would come out, but also just thrilled that we have a facility in Danville that can handle that number of people, especially in a banquet setting.
Mm-hmm. So for you, Randy, and for you, Tracy, talk about how do we bring that event to life? How does that come from, how do we go from, okay, we want to have a banquet to we're serving 1,000 people over 2 nights? How do you guys make that happen?
Well, for the Institute, I'm sure it's a lot of work and a lot of challenge for us. You know, we're starting 2 or 3 months before planning and working on the whole event and working closely with you all here to try to make that happen. But, you know, it's almost a week's worth of setup on our part, and just so thankful that you all are so gracious and help in any way that you can make this an incredible event for us. It just wouldn't be possible for us if it wasn't for the conference center here.
You know, we're just honored to be a part of it. Their organization does such amazing work, and so we want to be able to help any way that we can. And so, as Randy said, it's a week-long setup. The staff comes in and goes ahead and does all of this amazing lighting and decor each year. We're always amazed by the creativeness that they have. And then it's 2 days of this beautiful banquet where they share the stories, where people really get to see all the wonderful things that they do. From the behind-the-scenes standpoint, we are plating. It is a plated meal, and so we have about 500 people each day that take part in it, and it's an amazing experience. One of the things that we love from a behind-the-scenes standpoint is that since it's God's Pit Crew, one of the things every year that we kind of have a competition amongst ourselves is how fast can we get all of those plates brought to our guests that are here eating. And so we literally have a stopwatch, and we time from the time the first plate goes out the door to the last person is sat, their food is placed in front of them. And this year it was 8 minutes and 40 seconds, and anybody in the hospitality knows that, that is an amazing time. So our staff, their volunteer staff, we work tremendously well together to be able to make sure that their guests have a wonderful experience.
And I think, too, this is a very, from what I've seen, this banquet is very unique as far as the events that we host, because God's Pit Crew you all bring in a lot of your own equipment. I think, we take a lot of pride in being that we can almost offer turnkey solutions for most events, where if an organization doesn't want to bring all their own stuff, we can supply it. But I think that's really cool that you all, really deck the space out, bring in your own stuff. So talk about that, kind of what is the setup in this room like? And right now we're sitting in the Great Hall. That's our main space that can seat about 600.
Well, it definitely is an amazing space before God's Pit Crew does anything that we do to it. And, with the screens you have, the sound system you have, the setup you have is just absolutely incredible. But it has grown for us over the years, so we keep challenging ourselves year after year to try to keep it fresh, try to keep it new, try to keep people wanting to come. So we do add a lot of lighting, a lot of TV cameras, and we add some additional screens. And over the years, we've been able to accumulate extra staging and backdrops, and that's one of the fun things for us every year too. Is we design, create, and build our own backdrops, and so we try to keep it fresh and kind of neat. But I think that's one of the great things for us about this space is it is so versatile that if we wanted to come in here and have an event and not bring anything, we could. But if we're wanting to bring additional product and stuff to make it bigger or make it the way we want it. You all have been very gracious to work with us, within the parameters that you can. We know there's certain things that you can't do, but you all have just been so good to work with us to try to allow us to do whatever we can or want to do to make it our own event. So it's just been amazing to work together to see that happen. I don't know of any other space. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I shouldn't state it, but I don't know of any other space that would allow us the flexibility that you all have to work within parameters to make it as big and as bold as we can for our guests.
When you said that there are certain things you can and can't do, the first thing that popped in my mind is you can't move a wall. But then I remembered that we actually can't move the walls in this space, so we can do it all.
Well, I just wanted to be careful there to say, we have to understand there's certain regulations and stuff you guys have to abide by that you can't just say, come do anything you want to do.
And you talked in the beginning about kind of the three main,
y'all have done
main things
everything
that you all
you
do, being taking supplies in the immediate aftermath of a disaster, to basically cleaning up and then rebuilding.
Within reason. So
talk a little bit more about those three.
Been really,
I guess, main ways that you all help in these disasters and how those kind of came about.
Yeah, and there's actually a fourth side to Guys Pit Crew I failed to mention, but we also work regionally here too, around our own community and within a couple of 100-mile radius. We have a distribution program where we get product donated to us by major corporations. Our volunteer drivers, they go pick that up, bring it back, and then we redistribute it to other nonprofits in our region. If that's food banks, feeding programs, animal shelters, Boys and Girls Clubs, Special Olympics, fire departments, rescue squads. So that's a fourth side of that. We're blessed that pretty consistently for the last number of years, we've been able to distribute over $5 million worth of product to those agencies. And that's a product that's donated to us. We're just moving it. But so the first thing we do is go in with semi-loads of product. I mean, people who are just absolutely devastated, who have lost everything. If you can imagine waking up in your house one morning and everything's in place, your toothbrush is where it's always been, your toothpaste is where it's always been, there's food in the refrigerator, there's, you got paper towels, you've got all those things that we use every day that we pretty much take for granted. And by that afternoon, none of that exists anymore. I mean, in a matter of minutes, in some cases with a tornado or flooding, it comes so fast. If you can get out alive with the clothes on your back, you're very blessed. And you find yourself either in a hotel room or sitting on a cot in a school gymnasium where a shelter's been created, and you don't even have a toothbrush or toothpaste or soap or shampoo or a bottle of water to drink or food to eat. That's what those initial supplies go in there for, is to help sustain people who have lost everything, who have absolutely no means left, to help sustain them for a short period of time until they can at least get on their feet or figure something out. Then the immediate response team goes in, and like with Hurricane Helene, which is the most really recent big storm that's on everybody's minds, we have volunteers who will go into homes that were flooded with 4, 5, 6 foot of water in them, and once that water recedes, everything in that house is soaked, wet. I remember my son Jarrett shooting a video of a home in Old Fort, North Carolina, and when he stepped in the house, his feet would disappear. There was so much mud left in the floor of the house after the waters receded. When he stepped on it, his feet would go out of sight. We had volunteers who go in there with coal shovels and wheelbarrows and shovel all that mud out, one scoop at a time, out of that home, get it outside, get all that wet furniture, cut the wet sheetrock and insulation out, dry that house out, treat it for mold. So at least it's safe for somebody to go back in and start to rebuild it. If there's a roof left but shingles are torn off or holes in a roof, our team will go in and tarp those roofs so at least it doesn't do further damage. We do a lot of tree work, cutting trees off of homes or out of people's yards. We're one of the only groups that has people who are certified to do high tree work. I mean, if a tree's laying right over the top of somebody's house, we have folks who are certified to go in and cut that tree one piece at a time without damaging the house further. We do full demos of homes that are beyond repair. At least we can tear them down and give people a clean slate to start over. So just in western North Carolina alone, our volunteers worked over 1,300 requests for 1,300 different families, if that was cutting a tree or mucking out a flooded home or tarping a roof. So just an incredible amount of work there. And then our rebuilding side, we either go in and rebuild what's left if it's rebuildable, or in many cases build brand new homes from the ground up, or provide new manufactured homes. So it's 3 different ways, and we've committed to doing 25 new homes in western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, and southwest Virginia this year, which is more than double we've ever done in a single year. So as we're sitting here talking, we have 2 different crews in western North Carolina right now building new homes for families so that we can present them to them very soon.
As you were talking, I was thinking about the logistics of a lot of time. I mean, usually there's some lead up to a storm where okay, so this could be bad, but in many cases you don't know how bad it's going to be. What are the logistics like of both for the immediate response and then figuring out those more long-term things? Like you said, there's crews building houses now, so how do you figure out who's going to volunteer where and when, and what are the logistics of that like?
Yeah, so for the immediate response, whether that's shipping product or our immediate response team going in, fortunately, we've been doing this long enough now. We have contacts literally all over the country, people that are either volunteers of ours or people we know or places we've been before, that when something hits, we can get some pretty good real-time information on what's happened. And if we get real-time information that it's significant, then we send assessors in. We can send 1 or 2 people in to really look at it and say, yes, we're needed, or no, we're not needed, because you don't want to send 5 semi-trucks 800 miles down the road for them to get there to find out, hey, everything's covered and we're not needed. So the first step is communication with those people that are already on the ground. Secondly is sending in one of our assessors to assess what is needed the most, so we can also respond to it effectively and not send stuff that's not needed or whatever. And just depending on the magnitude of the storm as to what we send and how long we stay. In the rebuilding process, usually our immediate response team finds families in their work that they will contact me and say, hey, I think this would be a really good candidate for a house or for a rebuild, and we start to gather information. So there's a lot of process in choosing someone to do a home for. There's applications and all kinds of interviews and references and background checks and and contracts with those people. So we try to find folks who have lost the most with the least amount of resources to rebuild back on their own, but folks who have the resources to maintain what's given to them. So it's not an easy choice, because for every family you choose to do one for, there's 10 more that needs it. But we just had to determine a long time ago we can't let what we cannot do stop us from doing what we can. So we do all we can to make as much difference as we can, and just trust, and there's others out there who can help meet the needs that we can't get to.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good philosophy and a thing to keep in your mind.
Well, and something to talk about, Randy is very humble when it comes to what they do. Having personally been through a natural disaster where I had organizations come in and help, even if they can't have their house built or anything like that, still having that faith of people wanting to help, whether, like, I know in my case, when I first was, I was in a F5 tornado, and when I came out of the building that was destroyed, my first recollection is people coming up and here, what can we do? Can I give you water? Can I help you? Like, so when you're so shell-shocked after losing everything, and then having people show that they care and they're there to help, I don't think he'll ever understand or realize just how much that means to people, and how much it touches them. And so that is a beautiful gift that he's giving to everybody, whether he can build them a home or is just there to hold their hand and to pray with them. So it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of folks over the years say that the ministry of presence is probably the most important thing. So just showing up, like you said,
Exactly.
Somebody showing up and just offering to help in any way they can.
It gives you hope. It gives you, okay, we've made it through. Now we see what our next steps are. And so from my heart and for everybody else that I'm sure is listening, thank you for what you guys do. It makes a tremendous difference.
We're truly blessed and honored we get to do it. So
What you were saying earlier, too, of the, at least before this conversation, when I thought of God's Picker, I thought you guys, I think of you guys going out on the road to these natural disasters and going to solve them, or not solve them, but going to help the people who have been impacted by them. But hearing you talk about, too, that you guys are contributing right here in our community as well. And obviously, as you said, more of a pass-through and going to pick up these donations from other places and redistributing them. But I mean, those things matter just as much. And I think back to our mission statement of economic transformation is extremely broad, and we do that on purpose because we do a lot of different things. But a lot of those things, I think, ultimately come back to people having the resources that they need, whether that be training and for you all, whether that be supplies. I mean, those. If people don't have the resources that they need, they can't succeed. There can't be economic success. So that's really cool that you all are doing so much out in these other places where these disasters are happening, but also right here in our community.
Just to tag on to that, one of the things that until maybe 5 or 6 years ago, we just didn't look at it that way. But it's pretty cool to know that we are offering or providing opportunities locally for people to find purpose through volunteering. I mean, we have dozens of people at the warehouse every day giving of their time, which we couldn't do what we do without them. But some of those folks are with disabilities or different avenues. I've had on numerous occasions, but one that really sticks out to me, we have one gentleman who was in a really bad motorcycle accident, suffered a severe traumatic brain injury, can't work a regular job, can't drive, but is pretty young. And they started volunteering with us, which we love this guy. He's just the life of the party, so to speak, around the warehouse, keeps everybody laughing. His family came to us at one time and said, you have given this individual a reason to live. Mm-hmm. You've given them a purpose outside of sitting in a house and staring at four walls. So that means a ton to us. But also, when we started doing the research, I know it's not massive, but we have a pretty significant impact economically in our city here. I mean, we buy all of our equipment, all of our trucks, probably 60% of our fuel here. having events and bringing guests in. When we started really tracking that, it's pretty significant, which is good, cool for us. I mean, we feel great about that because we want to see our community thrive and do well, and obviously been able to distribute to these other agencies. We're certainly not the answer to everything they do, but it's great to help them do what they do a little bit better by providing the product to them so they can meet the needs of others. Just last week, we did a food box giveaway at Martinsville Speedway. We gave away 1,000 30-pound boxes of food and 1,000 cases of Gatorade to families. So it's neat to be able to do what we do locally as well.
That's really cool. That's all the questions I have. I think for anyone listening, you got your 2 clear, here's what you do next. You go volunteer with God's Pit Crew, and you host your next event here at the conference center. So anything else that you guys would want to add?
I would agree with both of those. Yeah, sounds good. Just, again, if you're thinking about wanting to do an event, we've been here 12, 13 years, maybe now. I can't think of a single reason not to do an event here. So, I encourage everybody, if you're looking for a place, this is an incredible venue in every way imaginable.
We definitely appreciate that. So for people that are interested in donating or volunteering, what is your website? Where do they go?
It's godspitcrew.org.
There it is. Well, thank you all for being here today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Megabytes, IALR's on-site cafe, features everyday favorites, convenient ordering options, and an eager staff ready to welcome and serve you. Our enticing menus offer something for everyone, from a fresh, well-stocked salad bar, wraps, sandwiches, and our rotating hot buffet offered on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Megabytes is open Monday through Friday from 9:15 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. To view menus and for more information, visit IALR.org/megabytes.